But don't say anything because it's going to take us straight to live and they'll be listening to us. Okay, we are live.
Hi there, Michelle.
How you doing, dear?
I'm okay. And I hope you're doing fine too. And everybody else that's listening.
That's very nice of you. Oh, look, my little alarm that says it's 12 o'clock. Time to step away from the computer popped up. Take a break.
Right.
I'm having to schedule my breaks now.
Oh, that's not a bad thing.
So, what's going on?
Hey, well, what's going on? Well, a lot of things have been going on, I suppose. As you know, I've been out of action for quite a while, gaining strength, getting my health back under some sort of semblance of normality as best I could, and slowly getting back into work. So I'm still scheduling my classes. I'm running 2 circles, one in Zoom, one at home. And I've got some workshops set up down at the lovely Gilbert Lodge, as you know, one of my favourite places in the UK. And I've now opened my books again for private sittings, but I am limiting the time I'm spending doing that because I've recognised that, you know, we all know we've only got so much energy and something has to give. But I've recognised that I do have to pace myself. There are things I cannot do at the speed I was doing and at the amount of stuff I was doing. You spread yourself too thin. So I've spent that time giving myself a good talking to, really, because that's what you have to do with yourself, isn't it? You have to say, now, look, behave, you know. Yes. Get on the naughty step. We're having a discussion. So I spent a bit of time on Shirley's naughty step. I borrowed it because she uses it most of the time. So I borrowed the naughty step from Shirley.
Well, I love the English idioms. So there you go. It's one of those things that I go, you know, I wished I could say so politely the things that kind of burst out of my mouth with no tact.
Well, do you know what? I've been accused of a lot of things over my time, but too polite has never been one of them.
Well, putting somebody on the naughty step is a lot more politer than saying I've been kicking their butt.
Well, this is true. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So you do say it a lot more polite than I do. I have a tendency to say I slap myself upside the head and pull myself up by my bootstraps and kick.
Oh, well, yeah, well, we do use words like that as well. Yeah, we do.
But you don't use the potty words.
No, try not to.
That's it.
I won't say I don't use them. I'm just saying I try to use them only at appropriate moments in private. That's probably the best way to put it.
Well, I want to get on with what we're doing today. I know everybody's so glad you're back, because those are the things that make it difficult. I'm trying here to see if we're moving. Okay, hang on. I had to mute us on the Facebook side. Okay, so in case anybody has questions, I can pop over and get the questions.
Right, okay.
I'm learning. I've gotten better these last 2 years, have I not?
You have. Impressed. I'm impressed.
How many hours did I scream? No, I don't want to do this. Anyway,
no.
Give us a rundown. The reason I'm so glad that you agreed to do this, because I think that this is so important. So I want to give you free reign to explain to everybody and to talk to everybody, because this is really powerful.
Mm-hmm. It is. Well, it's not so much powerful, it's very important. You know, the subject
in the fact that it is important.
Yeah, but you know, the subject of spirit guides is often surrounded by a lot of hype, my guide's bigger than your guide sort of thing. And, well, whoop-de-doo, because my guide works perfectly for me. So that I don't care whether he's bigger or not, but he does his job. And that's what we need. And people often have strange ideas about what a guide's purpose is. And our spirit guides are here to help us communicate between the two worlds in the best way possible. Now, the word communication means just that. There is a communication between two worlds. But as mediums, it's not just about developing that aspect of who we are. It is also about developing as a human being. And some people forget that, or they choose not to be involved in that. And obviously, the better you can be within yourself and the more honest you can be with yourself,
Right.
the clearer the channel between the two worlds can become. And sometimes people have this set idea about what their mediumship should be. So they've been somewhere and they've seen a medium who works fantastically, absolutely brilliant, and is a clairvoyant, which means they see clearly. So they're seeing the images and they're relaying to you what they're being shown and what they're perceiving from that faculty. That takes a lot of work, like any of our faculties do, but they go home and they think, I can do that because that's what a medium does. Well, actually, no, it's not what a medium does. It's not all a medium does. Some mediums will work with the perception of voices, as in clairaudience. They may hear a thought voice. They may know it's a different language to the language they speak, but they understand what the words are they've got to say. They may actually hear a separate voice, as in that person's voice or a semblance of that voice.
Right.
And there are some that work with that. And then there are us clairsentients that work with our clair senses. So we are doing just that. We are sensing and we are feeling. And from that, we're taking our language of what we have to use. Now, the clearer a channel we can be makes it so much easier. So the purpose is to receive guidance from our guides for ourselves as much as for the people that we're working with. They know far better than anybody else does how you need to develop within yourself and with your ability. And these, I suppose you could call them spiritual assessments, because I suppose that's what they are, really.
Right.
That's what it's about. That's about, hopefully, and I always say hopefully, because everything we do is an experiment. You've heard me say that before. Everything we do is an experiment. We have no guarantee of any one specific guide. So like I said to you when I first saw the advert, I said, I'm going to talk to Raven. I don't know if I'm going to talk to Raven. It might not be Raven, just because I've connected
But
with him.
I want it to be Raven.
You see, there is a point in case you want Raven. You might not get Raven. You might get one of the others.
I know.
Who feels that they
I
need.
agree. And I thought about that, but I thought there's no, in fairness, Raven is a short word.
Well, one of my sayings, if you don't know what the name are, call them Fred. And until they tell you something different, just call them Fred. That's a really short word.
I think Raven would have a little bit of I know all mine by name, but their names, but putting spirit team, spirit guide, and teachers and or teacher or whatever was going to take up so much room. So it was really kind of done more for.
But when I saw it, my first reaction was, oh yeah, put me on the spot, Michelle. How do I know it's going to be? I have no preconceived idea. So what they may do.
I want you to wait a minute. I want you to emphasize this, because one of the things that both of us agreed to with doing this was we were going into this cult. There was no
Absolutely.
pre-planning. There was no I didn't talk to my team this morning and say, hey. So
And
we
I didn't
got
tune into
no
anybody
idea.
until I came in here.
Right.
It's completely cold, and it needs to be. People need to be aware of the fact that we do know each other.
Yes.
And
And we work together.
yeah, we've worked together, we've had fun together, we've been on days out together. But there is also so much about you that I don't know a lot about, and that's as it should be. But I would hope that people would understand enough about me that have seen me work, etc. now to know that if it's not there, I'm not going to put it there. And equally so, if I am absolutely certain, I'm not going to take it away either.
Right.
So now what people have to realise is under normal circumstances, I would not do this in public. Because you asked me to do it as something to show people what's available to them, what potential they could gain from it, that I agreed to do it. But under normal circumstances, it is a deeply personal
And under
session.
normal circumstances, I would not have it done in personal because we know that our teams talk very upfront and honest with us. They do not hedge around. So there, I don't know what may come out, and it could be equally. It might horrify me if I get the proverbial shakedown.
Well, absolutely. You may be well about to get put on the proverbial naughty step. You just don't know. But I think what people need to realize about our spirit guides, and I am not detracting from anybody at all when I say this. Some people sometimes will say, my granddad is my guide, my so-and-so is my guide. Now, my response to that is those people in your life that would have been a guidance in your life and an important part of your life will continue to be so once they passed over, because they've still got a vested interest in you and they still have that bond of unconditional love with you. They don't break. So those people are going to be around. They are going to be inspiring. They are going to be your cheerleaders, and they may well be frowning at you when they're not pleased with what you're doing, as we know. But to get to the level of guidance that we get when we build these beautiful teams of workers and teachers takes some period of time. And, when people say to me, why are they always ancient Chinese people or indigenous races, etc., etc., my response to that is usually because these people lived a simple life and they lived it in balance with nature and the energy of our planet. They weren't mixed up and messed with by anything else. Everything in their life. So it's not just the indigenous races. If we go back, I know somebody who's got a guy who was a blacksmith from the north of Yorkshire, and he's a fantastic guide, apart from the fact that it makes you a bit warm when he comes in. But he life.
But don't you think that we were all indigenous?
Well, we are.
To some way. But we have had lives as those indigenous.
Well, we may well have done, but that's, going on to another subject completely.
But what I'm saying is they come in because they were in harmony with us.
Absolutely. That is exactly what they've done. And something energetically within us blends with them, and they are then able to come in close enough to be able to work with us. And that is the important thing. Because of the way I work and because of who I am and the way my energy is, if you brought me a guide who was very, very soft and gentle, I would have to work so hard to make those connections to the degree where it might not actually be possible. And I have to be honest about that, because it's not how I work. When I work in public, I work quick. I used to move fast before I needed the sticks. But I've got a wheeler now. I've got one of those wheeler things now, so I can still go a bit fast. But, So we have to look at our similarities. And sometimes it's important to know at which point in your life that guide connected with you. And it may not have been at the start of your journey of mediumship. They may have been with you on and off for many, many years, waiting for the time that was right, or preparing, should I say, for the time that was right for them to come forward. And all of these things sometimes get mixed up in this theory of guides thing, as I call it. It's like, the mythology surrounding our guides. They are deeply, deeply spiritual souls who are here, I think, really for the greater good of all of us.
Absolutely. I agree.
And that's the important thing. So for anybody that's watching and listening, well, if you're watching, you're probably listening, but who knows? The best thing to do is not have any preconceived ideas, because in dismissing somebody because it doesn't seem like it should be them, you could be missing the opportunity of working with an amazing soul.
It's very true. It's one of the things that we all go through, and we need that connection. We need that spiritual commitment that goes in, and we have that where we can go through. I'm looking to see if there's any questions. Nothing as yet. I wanted to let everybody know, if you have questions, when she starts the session, we're just going to go with the session, and you're welcome to write down your questions, and we'll address them after the session. Is that fair?
That's fair with me, and I am about to get going.
I could feel that. I could feel that it was okay.
And my eyes crossing and things like that now. Sorry, I couldn't help that. So first of all, for the last few moments, I've been getting myself ready and talking and connecting with my people, because obviously what's going to happen is I'm going to connect with my guides, who are hopefully going to make the connection with yours, and between us we're going to have this conversation, basically. And that's really how it's going to work. I will obviously use my own intuitive nature, because I can't shut it off per se. So if there's something I feel needs to be said, I will also say that. You know this, don't you? You know you're letting yourself into this.
I do. You know what? It was, let's be realistic. When we were talking about this, it was actually came in through me that you needed to.
Well, it's your idea, yeah, absolutely.
I blame my idea. It was my guide.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing we need to talk about, the amount of times we blame our guides for things when it's been our idea.
It wasn't. It came through out of the clear blue. I was like, okay.
Well, thank you very much. Obviously, all I can say is one of you guys must have something they want to say to you.
And you know what? And I'm sure they do. A good, bad, and maybe hopefully not so harsh.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, they won't be harsh. They might be straight, but straight and harsh aren't always the same, are they?
I know, but it's always our perceptions as the dressing down that we perceive we get that we didn't. It was just straight.
Yeah. So the first thing that I am picking up on would actually be raven. And I say that because I see birds' feathers, not because I can see a bird, but because I see different coloured birds' feathers just scattered about in random places, which says to me, and it indicates to me, should I say, that there are times when your mind's all over the place, where you find a random feather. And it could be in strange places where really it's, how has that got there? Well, you can reason it left, right, and centre, but they are, because what he shows me is he tries to let you know in very simple ways that he's got your back, that he's trying to work with you. But your mind gets into such a space that you can't get anything else out of it. You can't, it's almost like it shuts the door. So he has to try and give you physical things like a bird feather just floating, or
You do remember the peacock feathers at the gate.
no, I don't.
Oh yeah, 4th of July last year. I took the dogs for a walk and there were peacock feathers at my gate as I came back.
Oh, right. Oh, well, there we are then. Well, you see, you wouldn't expect to find peacock feathers there, would you? They're not. But I also hear like little tapping noises.
Yeah.
So I know that he does that. That's him that's doing that. So, and that, as we know, is a way of trying to get your attention. So to some to some degree, to me, it feels like he's trying to say, calm down. You're not achieving anything.
That's when I'm engrossed in the computer. Is he the one shutting it off?
Well, he may well be. I mean, my main worker, when I was getting ready for circles and things like that, and I used to play music, if he didn't like it, the CD wouldn't play. But I could put another one on and it would play fine. And I've turned into a music critic now. It's sickening. And it was like, no, that one's not appropriate. We need this one.
You know, and I have been very engrossed in, because I'm editing one book and I'm writing the other, so that's fair.
Right. Okay.
That's
But
very
what is indicating by this, because feathers to me indicate a level of freedom, a level of just, flying, picking up the therms and gliding along. So it's his way of saying step out of it and go back into it. Step out of it and breathe and go back into it instead of becoming more and more frustrated. And he is trying to help you with that. I know you're a work in progress. We all are.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, but he is trying to help you get to grips with what you can do for you to make it better.
Yes.
And then it will run more clearly. But to some degree, you've been in this chaotic mindset for so long, you don't really know what it would be like if you didn't have it. So it's become your normal. And this is what he's saying. So you have to, if you can, remember a time when you didn't actually have it and how free that felt. Yes. And you don't have to do it right in this moment, but it's something you can do because you do know what it's like to not have that chaos.
Yes.
And you know the freedom and the peacefulness that brings with it. So this is something that you can do that not only will help you in your everyday things that you're doing, like your books, your courses and all the rest of it, but it will also help you in your attunement with spirit. And this is the important thing, because although it feels as though you are hitting one roadblock after another, these 5, and I want to say there's 5 because I am aware of 5 different energies here with me in guidance. So I've got 5 coming in here. These 5 are still on plan. They're still on course. They are still assisting wherever they can. But some of the changes, and it's the same for all of us, are so subtle that we don't always notice them because we're too wrapped up in these situations. Now, you know, and I know all of this chaotic mindset has a knock-on effect to our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual bodies.
Yes.
And so if we can wind the clock down a bit and, tell it to put its own self up by its bootstraps because you're not bothering today, it will help you, and it will help you enormously. So that is really the first thing. But I would like to know more about, or I would like him to share more about where he first connected with you. And I have a sense of running along corridors and in and out of elevators, you call them, we call them lifts. You call them elevators. But I have a sense of a smaller child, not an adult, a smaller Michelle running around these corridors and in the lift and out of the lift, and shouldn't be here, but I'm peeping around the corner, and all the things that a little child would do, given chance, really. And although it should have been a time of freedom and joy for a small child, it's almost as it's not the forgotten child, but it's like being left to your own devices somewhat. Would that make sense? And that is the point at which he first connected with you. And he came through almost in a, I want to say, a fatherly way, but he's not saying he is your father, but it was like that. I'm looking after you. She's my charge. And that he connected with you that long ago. So I'm looking at a little girl, Michelle, not a, and I mean a little girl. And this is the time that he came in, and he was the first one. But he gives to me also the thought of being on a highway or a road that actually did. I mean, obviously, I know New Mexico is full of roads that go up and wind around. I've been on a few with my sister, scaring me to death, I have to say. That's a whole new story. But I did see a wolf that day, which was amazing. Even though I thought I was going to fall off the edge of the road and go down the side of a mountain, but there you go. But I feel that on some important journey, or on a journey, there was a spiritual happening which was very important. And it's almost as though he didn't orchestrate it, but he did something with the timing for you to be in the right place at the right time. And that was almost like a change in direction for you, a realization. It's like when a light bulb went on. But it must be on a road that maybe you wouldn't have travelled every day. But it's like I purposefully was going from A to B for a reason, and something was presented to you. And he had something to do with getting the energy in the right place at the right time. Now, can you make sense of that? Do you have something that for some reason you shouldn't have had it, but it found you?
Shouldn't have had it. Something, some tangible thing?
I think it is. In fact, it might even be something that hangs on a wall, like a picture or an object that you would be able to hang from a wall, or on a wall, should I say.
I was thinking of the time that I first saw, I remember being on a road as a child, and it was late at night, and the lightning was striking, and it was so powerful. It was the first time that I had ever seen lightning at night.
Mm-hmm.
But that's probably not what
not
talking
tangible. No.
So
that is a powerful experience, and I'm not going to say that it didn't have anything to do with the energetic things around you at that time, but there is something that you came across that you were meant to get. It was meant for you.
You know what? There probably is, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
Right. Do you have a photograph or a painting or a picture?
I do.
You do. Right. Well, he has something to do with orchestrating you being there in that moment and getting that.
It hangs in Resonant Essentials.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And what it was I was coming down the road. My father owned a hardware store before he went into the hotel business.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin bought the hardware store. There was a street sale, and there was a picture that was on this corner. And I looked and I thought, I just looked and I went back and I got this picture.
Okay.
And for years, people thought it was me. The picture
Right.
was
Okay.
me.
Okay.
And
Okay.
but I
Because
was,
he
yeah,
orchestrated the energy to get you, he was there for that moment, but he has actually been around you since you were a little girl. So a lot of the experiences that you had early on in your life can be attributed to him on some level. Okay.
yeah.
He has watched you grow up, obviously, but he has also watched you make some stupid mistakes. I'm really sorry to say it like that, but that's just how it feels. It's like, you know, that meme you see of the guardian angel that's got really old and it's sat there like that. Yeah, it gives me that impression, as if to say, could have picked an easier one, but I didn't.
Yes, but I always delighted myself. Not all.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that back, but I can totally see why. I get it. I have made some interesting left turns.
Decisions. Yeah, you've made some very interesting decisions. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But to be fair, most of us do. And I often find the more difficult our pathway is, and choices we have to make, and decisions we have to make, and lifestyle changes we make, actually are all part and parcel of our empathic nature. Because if we don't understand
Right.
how it affected us, we can't possibly blend with anybody else. Hi, Max, little boy. Oh, baby.
Little snuggles.
Yeah. But he says each of these things should not be looked at as a mistake. They have all been a part of your journey.
Mm,
And if you work with those things wisely, they can serve you well,
yeah.
because they've given you an understanding of things. So when we say, why is my life so hard? One of your responses to yourself could be, why haven't I learned any quicker? Oh, lovely. Lovely.
You Max, just give me a little snuggle and just licked my teeth.
I do get a really strong sense with him of it has to be done correctly. He's not having any harsh measures. So if you don't put the effort in, you will feel him begin to step back a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're doing this together. I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without me. So let's get this blending going on. And he knows that physically and mentally you've been quite exhausted. He understands that, and I know that, which is why he's not bugged you quite so much. So it isn't a case of he stepped back. It's a case of you've needed that time.
I've taken a week I've totally unplugged.
Yeah.
And I needed to.
Okay. That's fine. Well,
I understand what he's saying. I
Mm.
do have circle this afternoon, so that's the good news.
That's fine.
But yes, I unplugged the last few weeks.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Sometimes it takes us until we get to that point of exhaustion before we say, okay, I can stop. Because we're too busy telling ourselves that we've got to do this because A, it's expected, B, we're trying to do good in the world, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And we have all of these reasons why we claim we can't stop because we're letting people down. But do you know what? The major person you're letting down is yourself.
Right.
And if you don't give yourself the self-care, you cannot be the person you need to be.
Absolutely.
And who you truly are. And you've been going through this lesson for quite some time, and you're finally getting it. And as you get it, you will feel less frustrated, less annoyed with things that aren't working the way you think they should. because sometimes things have to
I don't know
evolve.
what you're talking about. I never get annoyed.
Right, do you know what? I think I've got about enough in your telefib swear box now that I could take a around the world cruise and still have some money left over. So, so there. But the point is, you have to be able to step out of it and not let it overwhelm you.
Yes, you're absolutely correct.
Nobody else can do that for you. You have to use your own words, you know. It's a bit of, there's been a bit of don't do what I do what I say going on, and it's time it stopped.
Yes, I
Because
find as I
your work can and will expand. You've got to allow it to evolve. And one of the hardest things for all humans is to give up some level of control. And with this work that we have to acknowledge that there is no leader. We're a part of a team.
right.
And so it might not be going the way you think it should, but there is a greater intelligence at work here who knows exactly how we need to be drawn into this so we can become a cohesive team working in unison.
Yes.
And so sometimes the guidance that we receive from our guides might not be the guidance that we had planned because it doesn't fit in with our idea of what we ought to be doing. Because we're back to that. I want to be a clairvoyant. I want to be a this. I want to be a that. You know, I mean, Shirley Ann, my beautiful friend Shirley Ann, is a prime example. I mean, as you know, she and I started our journey together far too long ago to count and mention. But I always was not envious in a bad way, but I used to look at her skill with her mediumistic art and think, my God, I so wish I could do that as well. And, you know, some people always want what somebody else can do. And yeah, you do see mediums work and different practitioners work and think, I wish I could do that. But when what we really should be doing is, okay, how can I get better at connecting to make me as good as I can be?
To do the work that you're meant to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So sometimes we get in our own way of our development. And Raven tells me that sometimes it could take a hammer and you'd still have trouble getting through because your stubborn head comes up. Yeah. A little bit like that. A bit like that.
Well, in fairness, I do recognize this. I do recognize this. And that's why I think I've taken the step back because, you know, it's we forget, I think, that we have a team and we end up thinking, I
Yeah.
can do this. And so you start doing that.
When you've not actually sat and had that conversation and that communication with your team to say, okay, can we do this? And if we do, what's the best way of going towards it?
Right.
Which
And
is what you
on
would
it
do if you
before the
were a team of workers. You would do just that. You would all have your role. You would come together. You would have your meeting, sort out who was doing what that day, and it would get done. And yet we struggle with that. And I feel sometimes the reason for that is because we're the one that everybody sees. It's like it stops here. So we start to think, right, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Instead of thinking, okay, I need to go and ask, is this just one of my harebrained screwy ideas, or are we really going this direction? And you know,
well, there's also the element for me, I think. Well, for me, I think what happens is that I get in there and I think, okay, well, I have to type this stuff up, get it to the Canva, get the programs going, get this going. I don't think about asking them or having, doing it an easier way, because I have no thought that there could be a better way to do it, which would be they could actually bring somebody in where I would have some support in doing that. So as long as I'm willing to work myself into the ground,
They're
they're
gonna let
me
That's
until
what's
such a time that I go, you know what?
you.
I
Yeah,
don't
but it's
want
not
to do
just
this
about
the hard way. So it's
it's not
not.
just about that, because what he's trying to relay here is the fact that sometimes the vision that you have of what you want things to be isn't exactly how they are meant to be, and
Right.
not exactly what you're working towards. So for you to focus on that vision without them is not making use of the energy and the communication and those souls that are here to work with you. And this is something that you need to work on.
Yes.
And that really for him is the important message for you today, is to remember that you're all in this together. Now, there is a beautiful, beautiful young energy here. She feels quite light and soft and gentle. By that, I don't mean that she feels weak and welly, because she doesn't. But I am very aware of the aura colours. So for me, that is telling me that she works with the healing vibrations, and she's working with you in your healing. And what she's saying is, she's not apologizing, it's wrong to say that, but she's saying, unfortunately, I have disturbed her sleep when I have been bringing in the energy to heal. Okay, does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, okay. And I think because what's happening is, well, I don't think, I'm being informed that what is happening is, when we're in that sleep state, obviously when we're often more attuned that because of the brainwave patterns altering for the sleep state, etc. So part of you is consciously recognizing within there that that spirit being is there. So you're coming up through your sleep, as in trying to, the communication bit. So she is taking advice from one of the others as to how to do it without waking you up, because it's breaking your sleep enough for you not to be able to get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's not like just coming up, being disturbed, rolling over, and that's that. It's waking you up enough to actually disturb your sleep. And this is what she's saying to you. So that's quite interesting, isn't it?
Well, it is.
He has the most beautiful colours that have been brought to me. They're pure and they're soft, they're not in your face. But there is a gentle strength, there is a purity. That's the word I want to use. There's a purity.
It's either Teresa or Aurora that you've got there, because both of them feel very much the same.
Don't tell me anymore, because I need to be able to connect with her, not with what you're telling me, as you can understand. I have to say that as you said the word Teresa, it didn't resonate quite right with me. So that doesn't mean to say that person isn't there, but that doesn't feel to me like I was making that connection. And the fact that it was like aura colours to me could associate with the name that you've used for that one. She has this beautiful, soft, youthful energy. It's like that eternal youth energy that we have, where when some people, when they get older, say they've got more energy than they had when they were younger. And we know that's about attitude and mindset. We know that. And I think that she's trying to bring you back the mindset you had when you were a young woman, and the energy that brought, that vibrance, That girl, before she got beaten up round the bush a bit, slapped upside the head by people and things, you know, that joyful time of exuberance, really. And I think in coming forward, it's coming in too quick. It's like it's not got a gentle flow, but she's getting advice into how to do it without waking you up properly. I mean, it's one thing turning over in your sleep. It's another when it wakes you up at stupid o'clock in the morning. And I mean stupid o'clock. I'm talking about the early hours of the morning here.
Yeah, one, it's anywhere between, sometimes I'm up at 1.
Okay. That's a bit too soon. That is a
But
bit
you know
too.
what? The fact that she's working at bringing that healing energy in, I can hang with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Well,
appreciate her. I appreciate very much that she's trying to bring some other influences in to help soften that.
absolutely. Well, you know, this is what they do. In my understanding and my own experience is that your team is, I call it a team because that's exactly what they need to be, and that's exactly what they are. They are a team of workers. And the only way they can be that is to work with each other. So one may have knowledge and attributes of one area, another will bring others. So they will work with each other. They will balance with each other and they will support each other. So this is what it's all about, you know. I mean, every spirit guide, in my thought, in my feeling, has had their first experience of being one. They learn as we learn. They
Absolutely.
grow as we grow.
Absolutely.
So, and the key is that we help each other. But what he does say to me is there is much more work for you to do, but there is diversity in it. It's not just about one thing. So there is diversity to come. And some of that will be other people facilitating things
That would be nice.
while you provide the space in which, so it's going to be like holding space. And I am hearing like drums and gongs and things like that. So there is something with music to be brought in. But that doesn't come with Raven, that comes with, or another one would be involved in that. That isn't coming with him. He is telling me some of the things that may be coming forward for you, or those opportunities will present themselves. But the one key is you have to feel truly comfortable with anybody that's coming in. I don't care who it is. If it does not feel right, there's a reason for that.
Right.
So it's not just about business. It's about the business being done in the right way, and you understand what he's trying to say. I know you do.
Yep.
It's about your integrity. Don't get caught up in other things that take you away from your integrity, because those things will not work within the business levels.
No, we tried that, brought it completely to a crashing halt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's not over. It's there's rejuvenation here because he brings me that, and as I am aware of him now, it's like releasing birds out to fly again. So, you know, symbols of getting the messages out there, getting the words out there, getting the experiences out there. And it is happening. It
Yeah.
might not be happening as quickly as you would really like it to, and I understand that. But you do know they don't have clocks in the spirit world, so that's not going to happen, is it? But it's about, it has to be right and it has to be at the right time.
I agree. I agree.
There are some changes coming, and some I would feel you are already sensing, even if you're not fully aware of what they are, you're sensing them. But I think there are a couple of positive changes to do with resonant essentials that you're actually not aware of at the moment, but you've got a couple of nice surprises coming up.
Some nice surprises, or you said?
Nice surprises.
That's good. I like some nice surprises. I'm tired of the nasty ones.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. This is where he's coming in. This is how he's working. He is letting me know that your own family around your grandmother is very much a part of your spiritual life. And it's like she would have been your advocate more so when she was here than anybody else was. You and she had a good connection. And she is still there. She keeps, it's almost like I want to say she keeps her eye on them.
I mean, that woman let nothing go by unnoticed.
Because it's like, I don't miss anything. I've got my eye on them. But she's okay with them. She quite likes them. So that's a good thing, isn't it? But from your family, she is the one that is coming forward. I know that others are there, but they're not approaching. It's like, we're all here, but this is not about us, because this is about the assessment. I know you have walked the dark night of the soul, and I know that, and obviously I know you know you've lost your son, but before that, even before those things happened, you have walked, you've earned your stripes without a shadow of a doubt. And I know that Raven has always been there.
Yeah.
It's like he is the one that guards and guides you. He's the one that's actually, I won't say more important than the others, but he is the one that brings it all together. And he's the one that does the main communication with you.
Yeah.
So the others may relay things to him, but it's like he's the spokesperson. He's the one that's coming in with that. And that is absolutely wonderful. And surprisingly, considering the strength I feel with him, he brings a very, very soft, flowery perfume. Totally the opposite of what I would have expected him to bring. But he does just this soft waft, and it's almost like jasmine.
Yeah.
Soft waft of jasmine.
I would say that is probably because everything I have is unscented. So to get a notice, you would bring in something.
Okay.
Because I have aversion to chemically induced perfumes and deodorants or whatever, soaps. I prefer the more natural.
Yeah. Well, he brings in that soft waft of jasmine. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So that's as much as they're willing to share with me in the public arena.
Oh, so I guess I will continue this conversation later.
Well, no, but what I mean is that's as much as they're willing to work with me, and I can feel Raven beginning to pull himself back. But when you sit and he comes in close, you feel your head go to one side.
Yeah.
Because he's just acknowledged me like that by nodding his head to one side. So it's him that does that. It's him that causes that feeling. Because that was his way, he's just acknowledged me. So how lovely is that?
That's marvelous. Thank you very much. And it wasn't too, I didn't get a dressing down like I thought I might. It was put very nicely. So thank you for that.
That's because I can do it, you see.
That it does take, one of the things that I don't think people quite understand is that this is not something everyone can do. They say they can. Many people say they can, but they don't. it takes a lot of training to be able to do it with accuracy. So
I think what it is I do feel that people could do it
sure.
if they were willing to work for it. And to do that, they had to put in the time and effort it takes to be able to create really clear links with their team of guides, with
Right.
their workers, and they've got to be willing to stay in their integrity and their honesty. And in doing that, then yeah, you can do it, but it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, when I first became aware of it, it was I won't say quite by accident, because these things never really are. We just think, oh, that was a surprise, wasn't expecting that. And I actually did a sitting for a lady who had booked through somebody else and used a different name, as some people do, which is fine. That's entirely up to them. But she was actually a working medium, and she was really stuck with where she was. She was plateaued and couldn't do anything about it. And somebody from her family came through, and suddenly it changed, and this spirit guide was there. And he was telling her exactly what she was doing wrong and exactly what she was doing right. And like with you, he told her when he first joined her, and all of this information. And she was absolutely ecstatic. And it completely shocked me, because I'm thinking, never done that before. But, you've got to be open to the process, haven't you? We don't do things to say. So, I mean, Shirley does it with her portrait. She will draw, as you know, she will draw guides. And she, through those guides, will tell you what they're trying to say. And there are a couple of mediums that I know of who do it. But there are also other people, like with anything, who claim they're doing things they're not, and you're always going to get that. So my advice to anybody would be, if you're going to have something like this done, go to somebody that you know is either recommended to you from somebody that's been, or has a really good reputation for their work, covering all aspects.
So we're going to talk a little bit about, because I'm going to have to go to questions here in a minute.
Okay.
We're going to talk a little bit about the fact that you're going to be doing some workshops, and you're going to lead from the workshop to a circle.
Hopefully.
So it'll be an online circle. So people who want to get more information on that need to contact you.
They do.
They can contact you through me, or they can contact you directly by messaging through Whispers Through the Light on Facebook. They can message that way.
They can get me on there, or they can email me at audrey@whispersthroughlight.co.uk.
Okay.
All lowercase.
All lowercase.
And I can give them the information. So what I want to do is I want to do a workshop for intuitives. So we'll look at the different way that we are inspired. We'll work practically with expanding energy and empowering the energy, allowing our guides to come in, feeling what it feels like to really have that influence and connection with them. All of the sort of things that you would learn in a circle, but it's going to be done in a one-day thing, as a workshop. We can do that in May. I just need you to give me a Saturday or a Sunday date, because my weekends are free in May, which is unusual.
Well, we're going to have to look at a Sunday, because it just dawned on me we'll have to go early in the morning, because depending the time, it'll have to be like from 8 to 10, because Tarot Circle uses the Zoom from 10:30 to 12:30 New Mexico time.
Okay.
But all right. Now, if somebody wanted to have this done as a reading, they can book that with you also.
They can.
Okay. And how much are you going to be charging for these?
That will be $75.
For the 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which is a very good price, a very good price.
It is. And it's only for, if they want to do it, I mean, it's like a special, but I'm going to do it for that price. So if they book by the end of April, they will get it for that price. They don't have to have it in April, but they can book it in April. So if they book by the end of April, they will get it for $75. After that, from May, it will be $100 for the session.
Okay. All righty, good.
They
So,
can have that on Zoom.
and it's all private and all situated.
Absolutely.
So let me go and direct to any questions. I'm going to be looking over here at my other monitor as I just come through. We have, hello, Oriana. Hello, Nettie. Amber asks, is the connection guaranteed?
Is the connection guaranteed what, with a particular guide?
I think what she's looking for is she wants to know what happens if you can't connect to the guides.
If I can't connect to the guides, then there'll be no session and there'll be no charge. Simple as.
So I guess it's a guarantee. There'll be a connection or not. And if
absolutely. If there's no connection, now bear in mind what I've said before is, and I said to you, I can't guarantee a specific guide. So if that's what she's asking, then no, I can't guarantee any specific guide will come forward.
There you go. Brother Francis says to say hello. So hello, Brother Francis.
Hi, Brother Francis.
He must be getting ready to go online for his own talk.
Oh, yes.
Nettie wanted to know, do her guides have a message for her?
Not at this moment, because I've done your session with you, but I'm sure that in a session for herself, they will have. Yeah, absolutely. But not at this moment, no.
Okay, and Brother Francis says this is good information. I'm going to kind of do a refresh over here to see if there was any more questions posed and see if anybody has any. It's so tricky for me to, nope, no other questions as yet. So if they have any questions, please feel free to email her or message her through Facebook or message me. Audrey, this session was awesome. I truly appreciate everything.
You are more than welcome.
I'm going to tell you that yes, there was I remember connecting with them with Raven when I was a very tiny little girl, because my first indication that they were there was when my mother told me I had to take a nap, and I told her she wasn't my boss and I didn't really live here. And she said,
yeah,
if you don't go in and take a nap, you'll find out who's boss. And she swatted me on the butt, put me on my bed, and I was crying. And I always struggled with being here. And he came in and he says, well, you live here now, so she is your boss, and you have to deal.
Absolutely.
But yes, he connected with me through the El Rancho when I was a kid as well. Those are the times that I grew up in that hotel, and there was an elevator there and stairs, and I was running down the hallways and playing with my friends, and probably because there were no parents around. I was, basically on my own I saw my dad maybe twice a week, and my mom was already living here in Albuquerque. So with that, it was, I was very young.
Yeah.
So definitely a huge plus for your accuracy, just to give people feedback, because I think not only is it important that they understand the messages that you gave me, but that it's validated by me. And that, yes, I pushed myself to my extreme. So when I was in meditation, it was very difficult for Raven to come in and connect these last. So I said, you know what, that's it. I'm done. I've had all I can take. I can't take anymore. I'm not overloading myself. it's spring. I've got to step back, and I've been doing some relaxing, and things are flowing a lot easier. So I'm gonna run off to Circle here in a minute,
Yes.
and
You enjoy.
have my thank yous with everybody who came in.
You are welcome. And then there's Louis.
Hi,
Yeah. Just I'm going to get in my bed because he has to have a bed in every room I work in now. So it's like,
I get
don't
it.
talk to me.
Mine,
Don't talk to me.
mine do the same thing. So thank you. Let me check for any last questions. Okay, here's one from Oriana. In terms of proficiency, how long does it take to master mediumship?
The rest of your life. There's no end date.
Well, and I think let's clarify that a little bit. For it takes it takes dedication and commitment. So it's as much as you're willing to put in as to the progress you'll
I
make.
fully agree. But I also believe, or should I say, I know for me, that we never stop learning. There
Right.
is always something new to learn. There is always more growth. There is always more understanding. And there is always room for improvement. It never stops.
It never stops. And I want to reiterate to people, I take classes. And the reason I take classes, and I'm adamant about this, it's not a one and done. You don't take one class and become a master at it. It is, I take classes because I know that somebody else can give me a little piece that's going to move me up the ladder so that I'm better for my clients. So with that being said,
You can learn from so many people.
you do. So
and
we should, and it's a very important thing for the instructors to understand. Some people don't want anybody. They say, oh, well, you're already good and you're good to go. I've taught you everything. And so somebody has this false sense of security that because they paid for a $1,000 course on a weekend, that they are ready to, their accuracy is there. And that's not always the case. So it takes dedication, commitment, training, and study. And you have to find instructors that are willing, and people who are willing to work with you to get you to that level of accuracy.
Absolutely.
And not everybody, the other aspect I'd like to stress for people is that every medium is a psychic, but not every psychic is a medium.
That's right.
So those assessments that you have done in the past, where you give people their gifts, might be another refresher. I believe they were $30 for
Yes.
a quick assessment. It's about 20 minutes for you to go in and have Audrey do the assessment on what your gifts are. So you have a roadmap of where to start working and what your work is supposed to be about. Understanding that sometimes when I teach metaphysics, that's a class on healing for many people, because it starts to heal some of the misinformation they have been taught through religious dogma. And so many different levels of healing go into the progress of the training, correct?
Yeah.
So we can admit that. Amber popped in. Yep. And Amber popped in and said, thank you. Oriana left this really cool little happy emoji with looks like a nucleus. Yeah. So we love all of you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching and taking part, everybody. And I will hopefully will be back to see you all again soon.
And we're gonna get her teaching again. So there you go. There you have it. My heart to yours, Audrey. As always, woman of class. Thank you.
Okay, then. I'll see you later. You take care now.
Bye now.
Everybody.
Bye.